so far as we have traced the historical foundations of education from pre-literate societies to the 20th century, we've looked partly at international settings and partly at Muslim settings. We will now change our focus and look at the educational system of the Muslims in the subcontinent. After all, Muslims ruled the subcontinent for a good 600 plus years, and so what kind of education did they promote? Why did they promote that kind of education is what we will see. From the Second Battle of Troyan in 1192 to the War of Independence in 1857, we've had 8 different Muslim dynasties rule the subcontinent. That's a lot. And it covers about 650 years. In that 650 years, what educational legacy have the Muslims left behind? We've seen earlier, as we trace the foundations, the early Chinese, the early Greeks, the early Indians, the early Romans, and so on. And we've also seen more contemporary education in the 18th and 20th centuries. But it's also important to focus on our own geographical area. After all, the subcontinent was heavily dominated by Muslim rule for a long time. The Muslim rulers devised a system of education which was according to their philosophy of life. And for Muslims, the philosophy of life is the Islamic philosophy. So needless to say, the ideology on which Muslim education was based in the subcontinent was the Islamic ideology. It was heavily controlled by Quranic teachings, teaching of the Hadith, the life of the Holy Prophet, and so on. And so, if you devise an education system or you promote an education system in line with your beliefs, your philosophy, your ideology, the system would tend to survive. However, they did not only focus on religious education. They did not only focus on Islamic education. The Muslim education is also focused on the need of the time. 650 years is a long time. Education could not be the same. The needs could not be the same. And as the needs changed, how did these Muslim rulers react to changing education? What did they allow? What did they not allow? So religious education coupled with secular education based on the need of the time was the focus. Now that is good thinking, because if you only limit yourself to religious education, or if you limit yourself to education from 400 years ago, you will not be able to succeed. You will not be able to move ahead. You will not be able to keep track with the trends of the time. And therefore, this was seen as a relatively good sign by the Muslim rulers for their young people. Yes, give them the religious education, give them the Islamic education, but also give them the education that will help them become successful in their own lives. So, 2 things we see. Religious education was a way of living your life, was a way of conducting yourself, was a way of telling young people values and beliefs and morals, while the secular education was more related with the world. How do you now connect with the world based on your beliefs and systems? And there was no sacrificing on the Islamic beliefs, no matter what level of secular education you received.